My little girl hurt her foot and needed a doctor fast, but her physician wasn't available, and I wanted her seen as soon as possible. Then I remembered the Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care, right in downtown Wheeling at the Stone Center on Market Plaza. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day, the center is ideal if you have a sudden sickness or injury. The doctors and nurses were great, and they also provided x-rays, a pharmacy, and lab draw station. No appointments needed, and convenient parking is nearby. Wheeling Hospital Urgent Care. They'll take good care of you.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Hey man, what can I get you?
Yeah, can I have 2 Coors Lights?
You got it. Hey Mike! I need 2 Coors Lights!
Sure thing.
With a taste as cold as the Rockies, only Coors Light gives you refreshment every time.
Here you go.
Thanks, Mike. Doing a great job. All right, 2 ice-cold Coors Lights.
That's the coldest beer I've ever had.
Hey, they don't call it the world's most refreshing beer for nothing.
Okay, be honest with me. Do you really have the Rocky Mountains in your beer cooler?
You don't believe it? Check it out.
Man, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? I can't believe it myself sometimes. I mean, this cooler is only 3 feet wide.
Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. With great beer comes great responsibility.
The Education Association members were not in favor of the governor's decision. The OCEA president declined to say the number of teachers that make up this survey. However, she did say the 5-day model of in-person curriculum will throw off the system some teachers and students have grown accustomed to. Although many educators side with Governor Justice, saying virtual learning is not working, the association says safety in education should not be an either-or scenario.
We know that there's no substitute for in-person learning, but to say that altogether totally distance learning and virtual learning has been a failure really isn't true. We have been saying since the spring that we want better modes, that we want more funding, that we want more supports for parents and for students. We want smaller caseloads so that we can meet our kids' needs virtually. And so none of those things really happened.
Craig says the association stands by following the map in Ohio County. If it continues to be listed as red, they want to continue distance learning until vaccines are fully rolled out for staff. However, some staff members of Ohio County schools are set to receive the vaccine very soon. A clinic will take place tomorrow from 9 to 3 at Wheeling Park High School. Health officials are only vaccinating staff members 50 years or older as of right now. Teachers say the 250 doses of the vaccine will help to provide public and private schools a safe route back to in-person classes.
We definitely look at the safety of our students and staff, and this is a wonderful opportunity for our community as a whole. Any way that we can get the teachers to feel comfortable and one more layer of protection, this is a wonderful opportunity.
Once this first round of vaccinations is complete, health officials plan to then vaccinate any school staff who are interested. And a former Ohio Valley mainstay of medical care is set to open once again soon. East Ohio Regional Hospital has secured access to the historical medical records for the former patients of both EORH and OBMC. Owner Dr. Don Johnson says they are pleased to be able to offer their patients their complete medical records. After many years of planning, the Sacred Heart Center of Hope in Steubenville is now open. It used to be the Simpson United Methodist Church before the diocese bought it in 2016 and began renovations through grants and donations. It will now have counseling services for children and adults with therapists who are trauma certified. It will now be open on Slack Street from 9 a.m. to 5, Monday through Friday. Ohio reports that it saw more than double the fatalities on roadways this New Year's holiday than last year. A total of 10 people died, 5 of which were pedestrians, 4 were OBI related, and 2 resulted from not wearing a seatbelt. More than 300 people were also arrested for driving impaired. However, last year's reporting period was only 2 days, while this year's ran from December 31st to January 3rd. You can continue to dial pound 677 to report any dangerous drivers on Ohio's roads. Now for a quick traffic update, if you're heading through Brooke County anytime soon, both Greens Run Road and Cross Lane Road will have delays for the next month, according to the Division of Highways. Make sure you slow down and watch out for construction if you're headed that way. Up next, Zach will tell us more about our very consistent January weather. We'll be right back.
Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands is the perfect place to relax after a long day. Happy hour from 3 to 6 Monday through Friday. Get $2 off appetizers, $3 off domestic drafts, and house wine specials. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA. Quaker Steak and Lube at the Highlands with another steal of a deal. Get a steak burger and fries all day Monday for only $8.99. It's also Military Mondays. The Lube will take 25% off for all veterans, active duty military, and first responders. Quaker Steak and Lube, voted Best Wings USA.
Are you struggling to make payments due to an unexpected financial obligation or loss of income? Are you receiving calls from debt collectors? Are you feeling overwhelmed and unsure of what steps to take next? Then you need the experience and expertise of attorney Tom McIntyre and his staff to help guide you through these temporary hardships. Want to hear more about how Tom can help? Then call 877-456-4155 and receive a free copy of Tom's ebook, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Tom's ebook covers many questions people have about bankruptcy and includes interesting stories about people who tried to avoid filing and people who have filed for bankruptcy. We think you'll be surprised to learn some interesting facts about bankruptcy. Call 877-456-4155.
WKKX and WVLY. Voted coolest couple in their high school yearbook. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-TALK. The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Now it's time for Bill DeFabio on AM 1600 WKKX, the Watchdog.
The Eastern world, it is exploding, violence flaring, bullets loading. You're old enough to kill, but not for voting. You don't believe in war, but what's that gun you're toting? And even the Jordan River has bodies floating. But you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Don't you understand what I'm trying to say? Can't you feel the fears I'm feeling today? If the button is pushed, there's no running away. There'll be no one to save with the world in a grave. Take a look around you, boy. It's bound to scare you, boy. And you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe.
There is a song like Ball of Confusion, which you'll hear today. A lot of crazy tunes. It has some thought of what I think is happening today and what happened yesterday, what's going to happen. Because, you know, here's a guy that went through a lot of crap in the 60s, went through a lot of crap in the early 70s with all the problems they had in Boston with busing and racial problems. I thought that was always behind me. Nah. What are we on the eve of? I don't know. But I don't talk very much politics on this radio station. My job is to check out movies, have guests on with rock and roll, you know what I mean, the doo-wops, sports, special guests. I did get some good news yesterday. I had to put some pressure on Mel Blount. No, I didn't see him personally because he would squash me in a second, but he's working on Jimmy Brown. I got to have Jimmy Brown on the air. I just read his book about 6 months ago, outstanding book. And his good friend is Mel Blount. Of course, I've known Mel for a long time, and I asked Mel for a favor. He'll come through. I'm looking forward to that. But right now, I'm looking forward to baseball conversation. All right? I'm not going to deal with what happened yesterday because I still feel sick. But I don't feel sick when I talk baseball with the Wild Things general manager, okay? I call him the CEO guy, all right? He does everything, folks. He doesn't drive the bus, though. They got somebody to do that on the road trips. Let's welcome Tony Basella. Hey, Tony, how are you?
Hey, Bill, how's it going?
I want you to play a full season this year. You got it? No double headers.
Yeah, we're working towards it. I know. I mean, we've been breaking a lot of news. We added our 16th team this morning at 10 a.m. from Tri-City, New York, and just trying to wrap all that up so we can begin the scheduling process and get something in place to look forward to for 2021.
I've run out of fingers and thumbs. You have a new manager. I've worked with the first 10. Introduce to the people the new manager, Tom Vaith. Do you have faith in Vaith?
Yeah, that's going to be his tagline, his political agenda moving forward. Yeah, Tom, 17 years up in Winnipeg with the Winnipeg Goldeyes as their hitting coach, so he's well established within the baseball community. He's originally from the Maryland area. Fortunately, not a Ravens fan, so don't worry about that. He is a big hockey fan. He grew up a Rangers fan. We did talk a lot of sports going. We've been on the phone continuously for the past week or so. So just getting to know him a little bit, but worked for the Orioles organization, did some scouting stuff, and then has been on the professional baseball realm for largely the last 17 years. And did the interview process, brought him in, and right now we're spending the time just getting up to speed with the roster, getting up to speed with kind of the Frontier League and the nuances of our operations. And I know he's beginning to reach out to our players, make that introduction, and look forward to building what we've done the past five years and try to expand it moving forward.
And you're well. I'm familiar with both Jim Gentile and Hal Lanier. Two former major league players, and I think they didn't both manage in the Frontier League.
Yeah. So Tom is actually familiar with Hal and worked with Hal. And then Hal transitioned from Winnipeg over to, I believe, one of the Canadian teams in the Can-Am League before we absorbed their team. So, yeah, Hal and those guys have been well involved. Tom is familiar extremely with all of them, and Tom still lives up in the Ottawa area, so definitely well established and well connected to that crew.
It's just my opinion, whatever that's worth, but I think you respect anything I ask you or tell you, but I think you're lucky to get this guy.
Yeah, it was definitely really surprising. He was in line. He was actually in flight to receive the Cleburne Railroaders job, I believe, back in 2019. You always, to be transparent through it, for a guy who has only been a hitting coach largely, granted, Tom has managed probably about 100 games in his duration with Winnipeg, just with ejections and Rick Forney having to go out of town for family stuff. He has managerial experience, though not officially via title. I wasn't really sure of what a career, quote-unquote, career hitting coach was going to bring to the table, but very quickly in our conversations and the interview process, I could tell that this was somebody who had the ability, had the insight, and the leadership to be more than just a coach, and the managerial opportunity just need to be provided to him. So that we were happy to provide that opportunity. We thought it was the right time. We thought it was the right fit. At the end of the day, we weren't going to sacrifice a culture fit to bring in an ex-big leaguer or somebody with 10 years of managerial experience. We thought it was much more important to find somebody who fit who we are, what we're doing, and the personality of our organization and our clubhouse. And we thought Tom was the best guy in the situation.
Now, I got the Observer Reporter here, and since I paid for it, I can use whatever's in it and give them credit. And I think it was on page 3 on the bio with Tom, somebody that maybe have helped you or put something in your earlobe, a former MVP, James Harris. Did he suggest this guy, or he's familiar with him?
Yeah, so when obviously James was our MVP in the Frontier League, and then James transitioned to actually go play in Winnipeg. So James worked with him directly as a player-hitting coach relationship. There really wasn't much of a vote of confidence for him. That's not kind of what the relationship or the communication was. Tom reached out to James about Washington, about the organization, and then more or less asked to have my number sent to Tom so he could reach out to me directly. So just like how normal things happen in baseball, there's always that mutual contacts reaching out, mutual contacts helping get people connected. And in that case, James and I have a very, very good relationship. We've always had it. And when James knew that when Greg reached out to James, letting him know that his career was over in terms of managing, that Greg was going to retire, Tom and James kind of got connected. And I guess in James' opinion, he thought that he was suitable. And Tom then reached out to me, and we had conversations. We added him to the interview list with, I believe, another 6 guys that we interviewed one-on-one. So, yeah, just kind of the baseball world, we're all connected on that front. There were definitely, even on the other candidate side, there were a lot of other mutual contacts. I know I reached out to your good friend, Mike, former GM of the Marlins. He provided us 2 candidates that we interviewed as well. We always want to use our resources when it comes to the baseball community.
Yeah, Mike Berger knows everybody, it seems. Well, and, anybody in baseball, they're all connected, and it's called networking.
And yeah, Mike was my first call, and I said, "Hey, Mike, our manager position is going to be open. Who do you recommend?" And he gave us 2 names, and that's just the nature of the business.
Yeah. I like having him on the air. I think I'm going to have him on in a couple of weeks when we get serious about baseball. Hopefully, we'll all have baseball. But the one thing I noticed about Greg, and I always wondered, when is his arm going to fall off? Because you didn't have anybody but Greg, doing batting practice, and that can get old. Now you don't have to worry about the new guy because you have hired a former pitcher with Winnipeg. He's 29 years old from Tennessee, Alex Boschers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Alex Boschers comes in. He comes in with a 6-year pitching career in the American Association. Played for about 4 or 5 different clubs. Very well established. Definitely talking to him about a lot about the technology in baseball right now. He's very keen on that. He's certified in a lot of that technology that really amplifies pitchers' development. We had probably about an hour and a half conversation already, just learning a little bit of him and learning about what he wants to get out of the pitchers, getting him up to speed about some of the guys that we do have. I know I'm meeting with him in person next week, just to sit down face-to-face, get him up to speed, talk a little bit more, get him a little bit more familiar with the facility and whatnot. But he actually currently lives in the Ohio area, so he's not far. Yeah, not far. I think he's about an hour and a half from Washington. So he'll be making the drive in. Yeah, he is a UT Martin guy, and definitely really established. I know a lot of the feedback already from former teammates, former coaches of his. They speak very highly to the person, to the mind. And at the end of the day, these are both guys that I think were just really due an opportunity. And it's very easy to go sign somebody who's been a 10-year guy or guys who've already done it. And I think we were in a position as an organization, we were looking for the best personality fits, and Alex fits that mold. He's coming in with a little fire to him. He's coming in chasing a championship, and that's what his main focus is. And he's going to let our arms and our pitchers be themselves. And we've tasked him to pull out the best in them individually. So we look forward to bringing him in, and I'm sure I know Tom is very excited to work with him one-on-one again.
Yeah, you know what? I do have faith in faith after this quote that I'm going to read to you before I say goodbye and thank you. The Frontier League is more about developing young players and pushing them into the start of their career. I've always been envious of that. I like hearing that.
Yep, it's all about putting the power into the players and letting them own their own career. And it's as much as it is to put them on the right path, it's about us sometimes getting out of the way and letting them flourish. I've seen too many guys that have been under microscopes or under thumbs that just had their career kind of burn out the wrong way. And as an organization, we take a different approach. We want to be hands-off. We want to put guys in positions to succeed. And Tom, Alex, myself, and our organization, we buy in solely, completely in that concept. And we look forward to what 2021 and beyond is going to be with our staff.
I got a wish. Are you ready?
Go for it.
And your assignment. Make sure you get the team ready, get pitching, get hitters. You got a good coaching staff. But I haven't seen a winning team since 2008 when Greg Jelks went 48-48. Come on, Tony. We need a winning season and a championship.
Yep, playoffs and championships, those are our aspirations. Get back to where we were in 2018, where we won the division and did a lot of damage. So at the end of the day, those division titles and those clinchings are good and dandy, but it's all about, I mean, to me, it's all going to be about championships and making those memories and really putting ourselves above and beyond of what I think the community needs, the Pittsburgh area, the Wheeling area. We want to be that beacon. We want to be that organization that is associated with winning, and that's where we think we belong.
Okay, now let's rewind a couple of minutes back. You said Frontier League added another team from New York or whatever?
Yeah, today we announced at 10 a.m. The Frontier League has added its 16th member, the Tri-City Valley Cats, formerly of the Houston Astros affiliate in the New York Penn League. We added them today. They're located in the northeast of the state of New York, in the Tri-City, the Capital District is what they call it, near Schenectady. And we're happy to add them in. And I know the league is aggressively working on adding more teams to our league and wrapping that up so we can begin our scheduling process. Unfortunately, the whole MLB delay and everything going on with the minor leagues kind of affected our timeline as well. So hopefully here in the next 2 weeks we can wrap that up and finish the schedule and make it public and definitely give some dates for fans to circle for the summer of 2021.
All right, Tony, thank you for all the update on Mr. Vaith. I've always had faith in you, and I'm going to have faith in Mr. Vaith. I like his numbers. I like his attitude. I like that he has a pitching coach. Things are, ready to get going in the house of thrills, so to speak. Thank you. I know you don't have a life because you're baseball 24 hours a day, and that's okay because you do such a great job. So thank you for all the information. Thank you about adding a new team. That's great. Expansion is good. We just want to play some regular season baseball. I get a lot of questions asked from people in the Ohio Valley. What about the Wild Things? What about the Wild Things? More so about the Wild Things than the team in the Berg,
Yep, we understand our role. We do what we do. We're definitely very excited, and I know families are going to be really eager this year as long as everybody stays healthy and safe. That coming out to the ballpark in 2021 is going to be one of their top priorities.
Yep. When you're allowed fans in that, it's great family entertainment. That's what the Frontier League provides. But you're going to help me get a championship, right?
We're taking our stepping stones. It's winning baseball and going out there and letting the playoffs unfold as they may. But best believe that's our end goal.
Okay. Hey, go back working the phones, the computer, the network. You know all about networking. Thanks for the info on the new guy in town. Okay.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right. Tony Baselli does an outstanding job. Just a youngin', too. When I first met him, I goes, oh, yeah, okay, here's a guy, yeah, maybe he thinks he knows everything like some young people do, but no, he has studied the game. And I think he worked as an intern. I got to think, CJ. That's what's burning my brains. I think he worked for the Texas Rangers. It was a Texas team. So if it's not the Houston Astros, it has to be the Texas Rangers, right? Yeah, Texas.
Yeah.
And I made a few calls there. And, oh, yeah, we know Tony, a good kid, smart guy, all right? And I think he's 30, 31. I'm not sure, But it's great to hear. And another team, a 16th team, added to the Frontier League that played in the New York Penn League, which is a tough league, okay? And it's good. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. This is good stuff. That's why I call it Positively Entertaining, the variety show. I'm Bill DeFabio, working the glass because we gave Lola the day off. She needs it. She needs a few more. CJ Rose, the pride and joy of Wheeling Central. And, of course, Marietta. Is it college or university?
College.
Why don't you tell them to call it a university? That sounds big time, don't you think?
Yeah, but
I
we
mean-
only have, want to say, close to 1,500 students in our school.
Is that it? And you're
Yeah.
Division III, right?
Yeah.
But you're in the classroom,
Yep.
which I'm sure you're happy about.
Yeah. It's nice to be in person.
And can you still work out with the team?
Yeah.
Although you're not going to be playing until spring?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that's good stuff. Speaking of sports, the Bob Huggins Show tonight, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on WKKX. Saturday, a good one. A good one. WVU will take on the Texas Longhorns. Texas will be in Morgantown. Wait till they get a load of that campus. And Texas is ranked number 4. West Virginia in one poll, 16. In another poll, 14. So I'm going with the 14 poll, okay? And that's on WKKX and WVLY. And then the women's basketball team will also be playing Texas. That's a TBD, to be determined. How's that sound? Of course, if you know anything about sports or anything involving COVID-19, changes come by not by the day, but by the minute. Good news out of Cleveland, no positive COVID-19 tests yesterday, okay? And we can't get updates on players that are on the COVID-19 reserve list because for some reason, nobody releases that information. You know, it's like the CIA, the FBI, you know what I mean? And then rounding out the weekend, the Browns and the Steelers again, not in Cleveland, but at Heinz Field. I think the Steelers are going to win by a couple of touchdowns. But CJ and I, because I like to pick his brains, he's a young football player, you know, had success in high school, and he's going to have success in college. But I'll pick his brains on who he likes and why. The Browns are just hurting. And I'll ask you right now, TJ, CJ, who's TJ? TJ. We got TJ, DJ, AJ. Who's the guy from West Liberty, the PA? That's AJ. Wow. But Mr. Rose, how's that?
It's pretty good.
Rose, a budding athlete. How do you like that?
I love that.
You like that?
Yep.
All right. You're going to make it big somewhere.
I'm going to try.
And hopefully I'll live long enough to say, I remember CJ. Yeah.
Yep.
Coach Young said he's going to do well in life, all right? I'm going to ask you, how much will the Browns miss their head coach? I think it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, a former Pitt quarterback's going to be calling the plays, Alex Van Pelt. That's okay because he's the quarterback coach too, but he's going to call the plays. But don't you want the head coach there to make last-second changes and stuff, you know?
Yeah. That's what you always want is like a head coach to be able to direct you and give you some direction to where to go and what to do.
Yeah. You know, Coach Young always tells me, well, I surround myself with good people. Yeah, but I'm sure you're the big-time head coach who makes last-second decisions. How's that sound? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, Reno tells me the same thing. Well, you know, Bill, I have 7 or 8 assistants, and they do a good job. Yeah, but Reno, you call the shots. Come on. Yeah, I think it's going to be difficult anyhow. A lot of the Browns are hurting. You know, they've lost defensive ends, defensive backs, and I'm not a big Baker Mayfield fan. Hopefully he'll make a liar out of me because we are the radio station that covers the Browns, but I just think it's going to be a long afternoon for Baker, although he's got a great running game led by Chubby Dub Dub. I like that guy. You like Chubb?
Yeah.
What are you laughing for? Because I give guys nicknames? Chubby Dub Dub? I wouldn't tell him that to his face, you know? And I can't outrun him like I can some of the ex-Steelers out of the 70s because they can't walk. But I like watching him. And I like Landry, the wide receiver, okay? It's a young team. They'll be heard from. But not to have the head coach there? Wow. I wonder if he'll have a phone direct line to Van Pelt and call the plays.
Maybe.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. But it should be fun. But fun really starts tonight with Bob Huggins. He's a class act, talking about his West Virginia Mountaineers. What about that Pitt comeback, huh? Was that something? Did you hear about it?
I did not.
Well, I'm going to tell you about it. People don't like to hear about Pitt, but that's okay. I know of at least 2 Pitt fans in the area. One of them works at River City, so I got to mention it. Hold on. Here we go. We talked about the big West Virginia comeback the other day. Pitt was trailing by 16 points with 11 minutes left in the game at the Carrier Dome, which is a tough place to play. Pitt hadn't beaten Syracuse for 7 straight games. Pitt scores 30 of the game's 41 points to beat Syracuse by 3, 63-60. All right. And of course, 14th-ranked West Virginia will host 4th-ranked Texas Saturday. That's a can't-miss game. Are they allowed fans down there? Do you know?
I do not know. I don't think so.
Okay. That's a great place to call us
Yeah.
in. When Pitt used to play there, football, whatever, you know, Morgantown.
Especially when fans are allowed because...
Especially in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
You know, that's a loud place.
It's so loud, yeah.
And, you know, I like the language that comes out of the fans' mouth, you know? How they say Pitt, yucks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got buttons and everything down there. That's great. That's what sports needs. More Pitt-West Virginia rivalries. We don't see it in football. We barely see it in basketball. They do wrestle in college because both teams have quality wrestlers, but hey, that's the way it is in the world today of college sports. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from the head coach of the West Liberty Hilltoppers. This is the Variety Show. Behind the glass, Mr. Rose. On this side of the glass, Bill DeFabio. It's the Variety Show, and I'll mention it again, positively entertaining.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. U.S. Senator Joe Manchin says the events from Wednesday in Washington lie squarely on the doorstep of President Donald Trump.
I've seen other insurrections and basically things happening in Washington, and we've seen guns and tanks and armies and everybody else on the street. But when this happened to our own capital, it was as if the President of the United States gave his stamp of approval to go march on the Capitol.
Manchin speaking on Metro News Talkline this morning. Fellow West Virginia U.S. Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who has been a staunch ally of the president, agrees. This crossed the line.
It's very disheartening. I think the president does own this. I think that he whipped, as Joe said, he whipped everybody up yesterday and said, head to the Capitol.
After being swept into secure areas of the Capitol, members of the House and Senate finished their work around 4 this morning to certify the Electoral College results, declaring Joe Biden the winner. 2nd District Congressman Alex Mooney, who objected to certifying some of the Electoral College results, says the protesters who entered the Capitol need to face criminal charges.
Couldn't be more upset than I was. I was the one being threatened here. I mean, it's ridiculous. They should be obviously prosecuted to the full extent of the law, identified. I don't care what their politics are. Presumably they're mostly Trump supporters. I've seen some reports that there's some professional rioters in there or something. I don't know. I don't care. I'm going to go into the presumption they were, rabid Trump supporters. You don't do that. I don't care.
Mooney, a guest on Metro News Talkline as well. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. If you were in Charleston, you may have noticed an American flag flying upside down atop the state capitol Tuesday. Pictures of that circulated widely on social media, creating a stir. Governor Jim Justice addressed the issue Wednesday, saying it was a mistake.
It was this gentleman's first time hanging the flag, and he was switching it out midday because the old flag was becoming tattered and worn.
Typically, an inverted flag is a sign of dire distress. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
I'm not buying till I checked on Ford.
Most of us are faced with uncertainty every day. Your job, your finances, sporting events, schooling for your children, and so much more. With so much uncertainty surrounding you, there is one auto dealership that you can be certain about, and that's Doan Ford. You can be certain that you always get a great deal and the best service afterwards. Being in business for over 50 years has given Doan Ford the reputation of being a strong, reliable dealership. Be certain. Choose Doan Ford. Online at DoanFord.com.
I'm not buying till I check Doan Ford.
This is Wheeling Fire Chief Larry Helms, reminding everyone about the seriousness of this COVID-19 in our region during these colder weather months. This virus is spreading rapidly and can put a strain on our hospitals and emergency services. I am asking everyone to please wear a mask. It's important to make sure your mask covers your nose and your mouth at all times. Wearing a mask is one of the only defensive tactics we have to slow this virus down. Remember, wear a mask, stay apart, and wash your hands.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts. If Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds grew up and had his own radio show,
Get those nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
it's the Donnie Gilbert Show. Tune in Fridays from 12 to 2, only on the Watchdog.
People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of the skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Both for me, and I'll set you free. Rap on, brother, rap on. Well, the only person talking about love and brother is the preacher. And it seems nobody's interested in learning but the teacher. Segregation, determination, demonstration, integration, aggravation, humiliation, obligation to my nation.
Try and forget about yesterday, although there'll be a lot of reminders. Thanks to the news media, politicians, whatever. The beat will go on. It's still the greatest country in the world. As an old guy that's getting ready to become spirit in the sky, don't know where I'm going to go when I die. I love that song. It's all about me. I thought growing up in the 60s was very difficult. I watched on TV assassination of President Kennedy, the assassination of the police department with, I forget his name. Why would I forget his name? Harvey Oswald was shot in the police station. I've been there too. We had the assassination of Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King, the riots in the late 60s in Detroit, Chicago. And then I thought the 70s would be great, but we started the 70s with the shooting at Kent State. Okay? And then a couple years later, there was a unbelievable battle in the White House with a guy named Nixon in Watergate. You know, I thought all of that, 80s and 90s were okay. I mean, you know, there was the LA riots and Mr. King. It was just, and I'm thinking things will get better. Will they? As the Temptations is mentioned, the beat goes on. I always like talking to young people because they'll be our future leaders. This guy across from me could be a senator someday, a congressman, you know? He could be the governor of a state. Certainly, we could use him right now. He'd do better than the three guys we got in Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, and I'm serious about that. You probably watched or heard about what happened yesterday, young man. What are your thoughts? Be honest with me. Come on.
It's unbelievable because you look forward after one bad thing and think maybe we can get back together and let all the hatred go. But then after everything, you never know when something else is going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to get excited to see people happy again because you never know when one person or a bunch of people are going to come in and destroy that.
I tried not to watch the news yesterday, but I had to. And when I heard some people say we're coming back with rifles, that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah.
And I'm sure not all the protesters were bad guys or gals, you know. But, you know, it happened. And, you know, I've heard from some relatives in Italy already, you know, like what's going on. United States, you know, people look up to our country. I don't know if they're looking up to it now because what happened yesterday has happened in a lot of other countries, you know?
I'm not sure if you saw, Bill, but 2 days ago, Air Traffic Control got a message on their radio system it was an automated message, and they believe it was from Iraq because of one of their generals that died from, I want to say it was a drone strike ordered from President Trump a year ago yesterday. And on that radio, it said, "We are going to crash a plane into the Capitol building tomorrow." And that was 2 days ago that they said that.
Wow.
But as of this morning, an arrest warrant has been issued for Donald Trump from Iraqi officials and for the murder of their general.
Yeah, well, yeah. It will never end. New administration, you know, I know they talk the talk, will they walk the walk? If half of the things they say about, you know, people working, health benefits, you know, whatever, that's good, whatever. Things can only get better. I say that and I go, yeah, okay. All right. But it is Thursday, January 7th. Coming up after we take the break, maybe we should take it right now. First of all, I want to tell you about the voting for the Pro Football Top 32 rankings. Kansas City, number 1, Green Bay, number 2, Buffalo, number 3, New Orleans, number 4, Seattle, number 5, the Steelers at number 6. There are 12 guys that vote for this. Believe it or not, I'm good friends with 6 of them. And I talked to one of them Monday, and that is my good friend John Clayton. And he feels that, you know, the Steelers could make a run. The Steelers was his pick earlier in the year. Of course, I can change my pick because I work for different venues. I could say something on this station and make another prediction on another station. 9 out of 10 times, I'm right, CJ. So I'm not that crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jeff Legwold, good friend of mine, works for ESPN.com, making a lot of money. Jimmy Miller was a young guy that I helped break in to cover the Steelers, works for Sirius XM. He's making a lot of money. So it's good to have all these contacts, you know what I mean? And a guy that I used to go to the media parties with, and he works for the Buffalo News, Vic Carucci, all right? These guys vote for the top 32. We didn't have this back in the day, you know. Today you got the AP, you got the coaches poll. By the way, the coaches poll in college basketball is West Virginia number 16. The media poll is West Virginia number 14, okay? But who cares about these polls? You like the idea, before we take a break, that March Madness will be held in one place, Indianapolis?
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
You ever been in Indianapolis?
I have not.
It's a great city. All you need is a pair of legs to get around. Great restaurants, okay, shopping mall there, great venue, and a great place to have the March Madness. I like it when they spread it around a little bit, you know, New Orleans and whatever, but that's okay. I always used to say, too bad that the Super Bowl can't always be played in the Superdome.
Mhm.
But you got other venues out there that can spend a lot of money and make a lot of money, like the Rose Bowl, you know,
Yep.
can seat 105,000, you know. Giant Stadium for a winter football game. Detroit for a winter football game like Super Bowl 40. By the way, I want to mention this. For those of you that remember this, raise your right hand. And if you're driving, make sure the left hand is on the steering wheel. On this date in 1979, I sat in the auxiliary press box, which was out in the open air, and it was cold. The Steelers win their third AFC championship game by beating up on the Houston Oilers and Earl Campbell 34-5 in a steady, freezing rain at Three River Stadium. My feet froze. Took about 20 years for them to unfreeze. But I remember they stopped Earl Campbell cold, and it was really cold. And, you know, a lot of people thought because, you know, the Oilers were saying for a couple of years the only way to go to the Super Bowl is through that door with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, but it was a bad game. Then the Steelers went on to win the Super Bowl after that game. But I know it was cold. All right, we're going to hot things up here real soon because we got an interesting interview with one of the best coaches in Division II. His team's always playing for a run at a championship, and that is our good friend out of West Liberty, and his last name is Howlett. Howlett, what's he going to talk about his team that's playing tonight? Also, Wheeling University's playing tonight. Yeah, college football. Yeah, Bill, way to go, Bill. College basketball back in the neighborhood, and we'll be right back.
Create your ideal workshop with help from Menards. We have everything you need from tools to lights. Save energy with a new shop light from Smart Electrician. Menards has a great selection to choose from. The 54-inch 10,000 lumen LED super bright tread plate shop light starts instantly. Right now it's just $54.99. Save big money now during Menards Project Day sale. Prices are good until January 16th.
Save big money at Menards.
My special guest, a very special individual who knows a lot about basketball, and when you talk about basketball teams, there are a lot of good ones in Division II, but one that wins consistently is the West Liberty Hilltoppers. Ben Howlett, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for having me on here.
Hey, did you like that intro?
I loved it. Sounded good to me.
Okay, as long as it sounds good to you, you know what I mean? You know, I like watching your team, and I wish you well, except for a couple of times a year. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
This is your fourth year. I can't believe it. You know, what was 4 years ago, people were saying, well, how do you replace Coach Crutchfield? Easy. You bring one of his assistants who's young and smart. This is Ben's fourth season. He has won 3 straight MEC titles. Last year, he won 21 of 22 games. And if it wasn't for something called COVID-19, he was ready to host the Division II Atlantic Regional Tournament. You can beat up on basketball teams, Coach, but you can't beat that virus.
No, it's. I think it's hit everybody in every different situation there could possibly be, and every team in college basketball is dealing with it. We're dealing with it right now, but I think it's the team that overcome the adversity when it hits you, because it's going to hit you sooner or later. The virus is going to affect your team, and it's the team that can overcome that and just continue to play.
All right, Coach Ben, before we talk about your roster, and it's unbelievable, it's like, I'm looking at the same roster as last year. A lot of great talent, a lot of veterans, a lot of youngsters coming in. I got to ask you about your policies for home games. Will fans or families be allowed in or no?
As of right now, no. There are no spectators allowed at our home games, and actually at our away games. It's a league rule right now. However, that's going to be revisited sometime in January. I want to say January 19th.
Okay.
That'll be revisited at that time, and hopefully by then we're able to get some families and possibly some students in here.
So if I wanted to come and scout the team, I couldn't do it, huh?
You couldn't do it. You'd have to do it all online.
Well, I could steal maybe a janitor's shirt or something and pretend I'm cleaning, right?
I think we could sneak you in some way or another. We'll get you in.
Oh, that's okay. I wouldn't be much help to anybody, really. I just know how to, call the games. But, it's a fun time, and I'll say it again. I've been through a lot of Pitt Georgetown, Pitt West Virginia, Pitt Syracuse game at a place called the Fieldhouse where everybody and everything's exciting. But you know what? When I came down here and started to do the Wheeling Jesuit games, when it was Wheeling Jesuit and West Liberty, it's the greatest atmosphere I've ever been in. So I think that's a compliment to both schools because it's a neighborhood rivalry. You want to beat up on each other, but you know each other, and it's good. It's good for college basketball.
Absolutely, and it's funny. I saw Coach Richardson, the new head coach there, at the grocery store the other day, and it's always neat when you can see your rival in the grocery store and you can just talk hoops and talk about other teams, and you don't even have to talk about your own team. So it's a good, friendly rivalry, and obviously there's a lot of dislike between us, but we certainly respect each other.
Yeah. Speaking of coaches, Will Ryan struck some gold, didn't he? Division I, Wisconsin, Green Bay. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's no surprise. He was a very good coach, and what he did last year, with that team, they kept getting better, and that was a scary team to play later in the year. I'm glad we didn't have to match up with them in the Mountain East Conference tournament. They were a scary out, and certainly wish him the best of luck there at Green Bay.
Now, your first opponent is Notre Dame of Ohio. They've gotten to be pretty good in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and there's a lot of uncertainty just because they've got kind of a roster turnover. There's not a lot of guys back from last year's team, and they brought in a lot of talent from, all over the United States per se, and a lot of junior college transfers and Division I transfers, and so it's a lot of unknown going into this game. But for us, it's different because we tend to just focus on ourselves a lot, and we feel like if we play the way we're capable of playing and the style of play and our system, we feel we'll be in any game, regardless if we know our opponent or not.
Well, in my opinion, you got 3 or 4 players on the court that could be coaches. Dyer, Bolin, Yoakum. I mean, come on. You're bringing back some good guys to teach the younger guys how to keep that winning tradition going.
Yeah, it's about time. I've been here for going to my 4th year, and I've always kind of said we're a young team, but for once I'm able to say we're a veteran team, and we've got guys that have played a lot of minutes in big-time games and had a lot of good wins and won championships. So it's good to have those guys, especially this year when, who knows who's going to play the day of the game with the virus. And it's just good to have guys that have, been in battles before and been battle-tested. And, I trust these guys with everything I got.
Well, I was ready to scold you if you said we're a young team, Bill. We're rebuilding. I was ready to get in your ear, so to speak, but you said the right things, and you know what? It's nice to have a lot of experience. Hey, I want to talk about a kid from Barnesville. I think he's a freshman, Luke Powell. Tell us a little bit about Luke.
Yeah, Luke is right now battling some injuries. He came in and he was playing well and then got hurt his ankle, and then he actually re-aggravated it again maybe a month ago, and he just got surgery yesterday on his ankle, so he will most likely be out for the year. But obviously, the good news is everyone gets their year back of eligibility. So it's essentially, he's redshirting this year, which there was a good chance he was going to do that anyway. But he's going to end up being a good player, and it's a different speed than what he's used to playing at Barnesville.
Yeah.
But he was getting better each day, and I think he's going to be a good player here for us in a couple of years.
I'm sure this guy could win a couple of Mr. Hustle awards. I enjoy watching him, even when they're playing the Cardinals. I like this kid, Bolin. Is he like this during practice, too? Really getting into it?
Yeah, sometimes you got to calm him down. He plays every day the same way, and it's awesome to see. But as a coach, you're kind of like, holding back the day before a game because he's out there killing guys and just relentless, going after the rebounds, or he's going to guard you, or he's going to get up in you in the press. And he's just the guy that you can count on that's going to practice, and he's going to play hard every single day. And he's one of those guys that I don't got to worry about. I don't got to worry about for 1 second, both on and off the court, and he's never got a B in his life. He's in graduate school, so he's so-called the All-American boy here at West Liberty.
All right. I enjoy Dyer, too. I mean, you got some class acts on your team, and like I said, it's like you're having extra coaches with the basketball on the court.
Yeah, doesn't make mistakes. Does
Yeah.
not make mistakes.
No.
And, led the country in assist-to-turnover ratio last year. And this was a guy that was, told that he'll never play here at West Liberty. And the only thing he's done is he started for 3 years, and he's led our team in assists, and he's, in the top 3 in minutes. So he's a guy that I'm going to rely heavily on this year just to kind of make sure everything's going the right way. Because, again, we haven't scrimmaged anybody either. When we play Thursday, that's our first game since the Mountain East Conference Championship last year. So I'm going to rely on these seniors pretty heavily.
Well, with all that experience you have, you know what? I could probably coach that team. What do you think, Ben? Now, be honest with me. You have so much talent, it's unbelievable.
Well, I wish it was like that. I wish you could just roll the ball and say, let's go play, but it's a little bit tougher than that. But
Yeah.
I think with your pedigree, I think you'd be okay.
No, leave it to Lamberti to fill in for me. He was from Pennsylvania, right? South Fayette?
Yeah, South Fayette.
And you have another Pennsylvania guy I want you to talk about, because I still like PA because I live there. Bryce Butler. He's a sophomore from Latrobe High School.
Yeah, he's the guy that's really taken the next step. And you go down the list of our players, and you say, well, he's your best player. No, he's your best player. Now he's actually in conversation with that. He's very easy to play with. He's changed his body. He's easily our best passer. He can rebound. He can score. There's really nothing he can't do. And I think one of the biggest attributes to him is we're able to literally put him anywhere on the court, from point guard to 5-man.
Yeah.
He's our backup point guard. He's probably going to be starting or second platoon guy that plays most of the minutes in the game for our team. So
All right.
He's a great guy to be around.
Well, thank you. Boy, I wanted to learn a little bit more about the kid from Latrobe, and of course, the locals here. Biff is quite familiar with Luke Powell, so thank you for all the update on the people that might not get a whole lot of playing time, but you have so much experience. And you know what? I'm sick and tired of working with somebody with the first name of Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Howland at Pitt, I worked with him for a while. Now you. But you know what?
Yeah.
All 3 Bens have been pretty good to me, so I'm never going to complain. And, when you get old, no use to complain, Coach, because nobody cares.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. That's one of our rules here. No complaining. I like that.
You like that?
I like it.
I can't see you scolding a player. Come on, you're too nice of a coach.
Now you're talking. I'm too nice of a guy.
All right. Nice guys don't finish last, especially if you're wearing the Hilltopper uniform. How do you like that, Coach?
I love it. That sounds good to me.
All right, if you want to sneak me in so I can do some scouting for all the other teams, because they're going to need help to try and beat you, we'll figure out a way, okay?
That sounds wonderful to me.
Hey, have fun, and, go get them for your first game against Notre Dame of Ohio. And thank you for joining us on the Variety Show.
Absolutely. Take care, and thanks for having me on here.
All right, thank you, sir.
Oh, there's something so real about living local, and I know without a doubt I'm not alone. And I love living local. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. Said I'm loving living local. WTRF is working for me. The Ohio Valley is where I love to be.
And we're back. Interesting young man. I remember when he played for West Lib, and he was under the guidance of one Coach Crutchfield, and the rest is history. Wheeling University has a huge trophy case. All right, lots of trophies, especially with the volleyball team. And a couple years ago, the basketball team won a MAC tournament. But at West Lib, they got to build another shelf just for the basketball team. Then I always go by the plaque with Bobby Douglas. You don't know who he is, CJ.
No.
I remember him because a lot of kids from Trinity High School who were good wrestlers would attend West Liberty State or Cal U, okay? Bobby Douglas in 1964 was the NAIA championship wrestler. Very good. They got a plaque up there and everything. That's a great venue. And I look forward to the rivalry. And I look forward to opening night tonight with Wheeling University, both the Cardinals and the Hilltoppers at home tonight. So that's good stuff. Good stuff. That's a good team. I don't know who can beat them. You know, I could do all the scouting in the world, but I ain't going to help anybody, you know. Oh, yeah, he's good. No, he's good. But the coach got a great bench. And there's a lot of experience coming back for the Wheeling Cardinals, so I expect a good year out of both of them. And I can't wait to see both play. Maybe 3 times. Twice during the regular season, maybe once in the MEC, which I think is going to be held again at West Banco, which was one of the greatest moves. You know, they used to have the MEC tournament in Charleston.
Yeah.
There were more people working for the janitorial services than in the stands. Yep. You know?
Yeah.
They showed the game on TV. There was nobody in the stands.
It draws more attention up here in Wheeling.
Yeah, because you got Fairmont State. It's like a local game. It's like a local game for Wheeling University and West Liberty, you know?
Yep.
And it's not that far for Notre Dame of Ohio. So I think, yeah, that was a good move made by the MEC commissioner and all the people involved. And I'm glad it's coming back here. Hopefully, when they have that tournament, people will be allowed in, and people will have fun, and basketball at its best in Division II. All right, I got to take a break. When we come back, Greg Brown will join us, and we're going to talk about the Gunner. The Gunner's been receiving a lot of stories lately because it's some kind of anniversary with Bob Prince, maybe the greatest of all greats when it comes to baseball announcing on the field and off the field. I'm Bill DeFabio. Across the way, CJ Rose. We'll be right back with Greg Brown, the voice of the Pirates, on the Variety Show, and I'll mention it again, positively entertaining.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
Obviously, then the president could dispute that. It would go to a vote in the Congress. It would take a 2/3 vote in both the Senate and the House to basically remove the president from office and install the vice president in his place.
Coronavirus cases around the country continue to surge, reaching record levels, and the economy, there's pain. Another 787,000 new unemployment claims filed last week. You're listening to ABC News.
Newsmax TV is the biggest thing on cable news, with shows including Dick Morris, Rudy Giuliani, Michelle Malkin, Diamond and Silk, Mike Huckabee, Alan Dershowitz, and more. Every night, watch Newsmax's #1 show, Greg Kelly Reports. Greg Kelly tells you the truth about Trump. Newsmax is on all major cable systems. Check your guide or tell your operator you want Newsmax. 30 million Americans watch Newsmax TV. And download the Newsmax app on your smartphone. It's free, so get Newsmax TV anytime, anywhere.
Carmen's startup found an angel investor, but now they're asking for a miracle from her development team.
Hello, this is Carmen. That's exciting news. I guess we could launch early.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
On Wall Street, stocks rallying in midday trading as Congress confirmed the election of Joe Biden as president. The Dow is up at this hour. Many CEOs speaking out following yesterday's siege at the U.S. Capitol. ABC's chief business and economics correspondent Rebecca Jarvis.
A number of executives have spoken out, putting their name on statements, very strongly worded statements, including GM's Mary Barra, Google's Sundar Pichai, and JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon, all of them strongly condemning the violence that we saw at the Capitol yesterday. The National Association of Manufacturers CEO going so far as to call on the vice president to invoke the 25th Amendment.
American Airlines says it will no longer serve alcohol on flights to and from Washington, D.C. The policy change comes out.
Okay.
Hey, man, who's that cat coming down the street?
I don't know, but it sounds to me like that gifted man with the bone.
Franzen, ABC News.
Wheeling Coin and Hobby on 10th Street in Wheeling, next to the Bridge Tavern in downtown Wheeling, wants to buy any and all unwanted gold and silver jewelry. They are paying top dollar for 10, 14, 18, and 22 karat gold plus 925 sterling silver. They also want to buy collectible coins and paper money from before 1933. Wheeling Coin and Hobby is open daily from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Coin and Hobby, 304-232-8430, and add them on Facebook.
In a divided year, we can still be united through giving. There's a $300 above-the-line tax deduction this year thanks to the CARES Act. You can take a $300 deduction for charitable donations. As an organization that promotes giving, the United Way of the Upper Ohio Valley encourages you to utilize this tax deduction. Consider making a donation to a nonprofit agency with a cause that's important to you. Any donation made to the United Way will go towards our annual campaign supporting local programs focusing on the community's toughest needs.
I'm Josh from Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. I hope you are staying healthy. We continue to respond to structural, fire, and water emergencies. We are combating COVID-19 with our highly trained staff and latest disinfection systems, providing preventative and reactive disinfection to facilities around the region, while working with area hospitals on isolation areas and air filtering. At Panhandle, we continue to follow social distancing and hygiene protocols. We are dedicated to our community, and together, we will get through this.
Are you or your loved ones facing a serious legal battle? The law office of Paul Harris wants you to know you aren't alone. Do you need someone that's not afraid to go to trial and fight for your rights? Attorney Paul Harris and his team are willing to go where most firms are not. The courtroom. With a successful track record in civil litigation, criminal defense, including tax issues and healthcare fraud, Harris Law Office will fight for their clients by offering the most aggressive representation in and out of court. Call Paul Harris at Harris Law Office for a free consultation. 304-232-5300.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Now it's time for Bill DeFabio on AM 1600 WKKX, the Watchdog.
Hey, man, who's that cat coming down the street? I don't know, but it sounds to me like that's just the man with the bone. Sure having himself a ball.
Hey, CJ, can you whistle? You know, a couple years ago, because I'm getting old, I can't whistle. Well, ask Greg Brown if he can whistle. Hey, Greg Brown, voice of the Pirates, can you whistle? Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Hey, before we talk Bob Prince, Buffalo Bills, because there was a relationship there for a number of years between Greg Brown, who worked on the Buffalo Bills radio network, and he interviewed everybody, of course. And the Bills are playing Indianapolis. The Indianapolis coach used to be the head coach at, not the head coach, but he used to be the quarterback at Buffalo in that big come-from-behind win. And you were there, right? When you were down by, what, 30 or something?
Oh, it was 30, well, I'm going to be thin for the score, 35 to 7, 33 to 7 at halftime.
Yeah.
And, you know, people have asked me a lot about that game and what I remember. Two things. I remember at halftime being so distraught, and I'm upset that the run was going to end because the Oilers were just killing the Bills, and we knew it was over. And my broadcast partner patted me on the back, and he said, "Hey, don't be upset. Think about it. When was the last time you got to go to Florida and play some golf this early in the winter?" Yeah. Because the Bills had been through 3 previous runs. And I said, "Yeah, true. And so we're trying to make the most of it." And then the first series, the second half, the Oilers cornerback, Bubba McDowell, picks off a pass and runs it into the end zone for 6. So you think, like, even if you had any thoughts at all that the Bills would come back, it was doused in your mind immediately on the very first series of the second half when the Oilers picked the pass off and run it back for a touchdown. Yeah. So, and then in fact, I've heard that replay, some of the highlights during Super Bowl week. ESPN or someone will replay great games over the last couple of weeks. And one of my comments was that, this is a tidal wave. It felt like a tidal wave of momentum had shifted the way of the Bills. Just one thing after another. They had the quick strike, the K-gun, no-huddle offense. And Warren Moon was the quarterback of the Oilers. He started making all kinds of mistakes in the second half. It was a disaster for them, and just a wonderful, wonderful moment.
And Frank Reich was the quarterback, right?
Frank Reich was the quarterback of that game and also pulled off one of the greatest comebacks in college football history as a backup to Boomer Esiason at Maryland.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay.
He led Maryland to one of the greatest college football comebacks in history.
I guess the most sickening moment was when you had the Giants and the field goal kicker, who was very good. He's probably still getting hassled. Missed the field goal that would have put you in the Super Bowl championship talk. But instead, what was it? Wide right or wide left?
Well, that was the game against the Giants in the first Super Bowl. So the Bills were playing their first Super Bowl down in Tampa Bay against the Giants. And it was one of the best Super Bowls in history to that point, and remains probably a top 5 because both offenses were kind of back and forth. And, with about maybe a minute and a half left, Jim Kelly with the team down, I guess, a point at that juncture. Got the team down to about the 30-yard line, and Scott Norwood, normally, sure-footed.
Yep.
It was not a gimme. It was not a gimme. But, he had certainly had the strength in his leg to make that kick. It's not a question of, of distance. It wasn't like it was a 55-yarder. I think it was like 43. But it was wide right, and time expired, and just an absolute, in terms of historic defeats in one's lifetime that you call either being on hand, watching on television, being a part of in broadcasting, that was certainly the most difficult loss that I've had to endure personally. People talk about the 1992 Game 7 Pirates Braves in Atlanta. I was still in Buffalo, and so as much as I still was a Pirates fan, I was still distant physically and emotionally from the team at that point. I was rooting for them, hoping, but it wasn't like I was locked in and do or die situation. I felt badly for the people at the Pirates. I felt badly for Jim Leland, all the front office people that I knew, that the Pirates lost that heartbreak. I understand what it meant to them, but in terms of me personally feeling it, that stands out, that Giants-Bills first Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I guess Scott Norwood stayed away from the grocery store for a while, right?
It was devastating for him. Now, I believe HBO or ESPN, I guess ESPN did a 30 for 30 a couple of years ago. Someone did some kind of a retrospect and got he became like a recluse, basically.
Yeah.
Didn't want to talk to anybody. Much like Stan Belinda. Stan Belinda, though he went on to have a good career with not only Pirates but a couple of other teams, he became a bit of a recluse as well. The keeper for the Pirates, who gave up that game when hit to Francisco Cabrera.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. Norwood was a great, a solid kicker. They wouldn't have gotten to the Super Bowl without him. But that's hard to live down after such a devastating loss.
Yeah. All right. Before we talk about Bob Prince, did you hear about the big trade involving the Cleveland Indians and the New York Mets?
You told me I was during our commercial break. I looked and saw it. That was absolutely incredible. Now you want to talk about a blockbuster? That's a blockbuster.
Yeah, I think. What are the Indians doing? Two of their best players and fan favorites are gone. Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco to the New York Mets for guys I've never heard of.
Well, they're doing what teams like the Pirates have to do. This, in this type of market, the Indians could only hold on for so long. They were not going to keep Lindor. He was not going to stay in Cleveland. He's going to be too expensive. Carrasco. I think they decided, if we lose Lindor, we're going to have to go ahead and move Carrasco too, because the rebuild will start. And this is what it is. It's a rebuild, and hopefully it won't be too long. They're back on their feet and performing well again. But this is just the way of the sports, of the baseball world, for sure.
Wow. Well, Indians fans can see these ex-Indians when they play the Pirates at PNC Park, right?
Indians fans can go see the Mets, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
There you
hopefully.
Hopefully there'll be fans in there. All right.
But, I mean, the Mets, you're talking about a team that is going for it. They're putting all their eggs in these baskets. They've done a nice job. We'll see. They talk about winning the off season and how unimportant that is for a lot of teams. Well, the Mets, are in the shadows of the Yankees every single year, and now they're trying to win the off season and the regular season. We'll see if it works.
Yeah.
We'll see if it works. But you got to give them credit.
Yeah, and then there's that small market team on the West Coast called the Padres. They've done some interesting things in the off season.
In the last few off seasons, they have also done some things where they have, it started with, Hosmer. They signed Eric Hosmer as a free agent, and then it went to Manny Machado, and then they made a couple other moves last year, so they built up. Their payroll's gotten really big, bloated, and it looks like they're going for it this year. Once again, it'll be interesting if they don't win, and when fans do come back, what that will mean to that market and that team. The one thing about San Diego, Bill, is that, they don't really have any competition in the sports world. There's no basketball and there's no football now.
That's true.
It's it. So the Padres are it. So there's no competition there. And so they can afford, they've got a little bit longer, I think, of a Rose Garden honeymoon period. I think than a lot of teams in, as you mentioned, smaller markets can have, because they're the only game in town.
Yeah. The GM said recently, I want to quote him, but he said something like, "Why wait? Let's go for it now."
Wow.
Oh, they wait a second. They do get people at the zoo.
Yes, they do. That's a good zoo. You been there?
Yeah, a couple times. Yeah.
That's a really good one. It comes with a good station. It's really good.
All right, Bob Prince was featured in this last Sunday's Post-Gazette, the last page. I almost missed it because I never read up to the last page. A full page with some unbelievable things that he has done on the field and away from the field. I know as a young Bill DeFabio coming here from Boston, where I knew everybody in the Boston media and the Red Sox and the Celtics, I would go to the batting practice early and stand by Bob Prince, and he would introduce me to the likes of Joe Torre, Lou Brock, Johnny Bench. He was a cool guy. Then we used to laugh at some of his Bob Prince-isms in the press box with Dizzy and George, where you could eat and drink like a fish. And there's some great stories out there. Maybe you want to share one or two good ones through your good friend Steve Blass or your own mind?
Well, yeah, I mean, Steve talked about it. One of the things Steve loves to talk, when Steve was out on the chicken dinner circuit, when I was with him on caravans and so on, and he would be a featured speaker, he would go into his Vegas routine. And I've always said that Steve wasn't a pitcher. He could have decided to make a good buck as a comedian in Las Vegas every night. The guy's unbelievable. But anyway, he talked about how one of the first games he did on HSE, Home Sports Entertainment, which preceded, of course, AT&T Sportsnet and Prime Sports and KBL and whatever names they were. This was one of the early years of cable TV, sports TV in Pittsburgh, HSE, and Prince and Blast, and even for a while, Starkville were doing those games. And Steve was a novice in the broadcast booth and didn't understand the workings of even the headset that you put on, which allows you, that talkback box allows you to talk. When you have to cough, you've got a cough button, which mutes your mic entirely.
Yeah.
So you can cough while you're on the air, which I get on Bob Walk a lot, because Bob always misses it. And you hear Bob coughing on occasion, and I get mad at him on the air. And he goes, "What?" I said, "Well, there's a cough button there for a reason." He goes, "It didn't work." I said, "No, you didn't press it." Anyhow, you've got the cough button, and you also have the talkback button, which allows you to talk to the director or producer in the truck. If you want to see a replay, if you didn't understand what he was saying, this allows you to talk to them. So anyway, Steve did not understand the mechanics of that. And so as as he's on the air, he says, "There's a ground ball to shortstop and on to first base, 2 out." And Billy Allman is on the shortstop when he can play. Well, all of a sudden they replay it in slow motion. Basically, a non-factor. It was just a ground ball. And Prince hits the talkback button to the truck, the producer, the director, and he says, "If you show me another routine double play, I'm going to come back and beep, beep, motherfucker, blank, blankety, blank, blank, each one of you, so-and-so." I mean, he used a lot of colorful language that I can't use on your air. But when Glass tells the story of Prince telling the truck never to show another instant replay that is routine and cusses at them, Steve was unaware that they were on the air.
Oh, no.
He says, "I thought we were done." He goes, "I thought they were going to come in and take us away."
Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy.
He also, one day he said, one of the ushers comes into the booth just before game time, and Prince says, "Hey, bring me up another screwdriver, will you?"
Yeah.
Blast thought there was something wrong with the talkback box.
I can't wait to talk to Blast about that one. He and Myron Cope like their liquids during the game,
Yeah. Well, back then you could get away with those things.
Oh, yeah, you can do anything you want. Smoke, and whatever.
I mean, there were no cell phones.
No.
Basically, you were on the radio because remember back then there were very few TV games. That's how these voices of the game became such larger than life figures.
Yep.
The Bob Princes, the Mel Allens, the Vince Scullys, Lindsey Nelson, these people, Harry Callum, Byram Saul, Ernie Harwell, Red Barber. These were the voices of the team. Jack Buck.
Yep.
Before you were on TV all the time. So if you wanted to hear your team's games, you basically had to go on your transistor radio and tune into KDKA or KMOX or KYW or whatever it might be. And so they became larger than life figures. You didn't even know what they looked like when you heard their voices. And every night during the summer, you would hear them describe these baseball games. I mean, again, you can imagine what it must have been like to see them for the first time in person, maybe at the ballpark, or when TV games started to finally come into light. The fledgling TV networks, which would carry a handful of games, then you could actually see these people, what they look like. So there was a different time back then. But when you're on the radio, again, no cell phones. People were going to tweet out, "Oh, this guy's drinking." Nobody knew you were drinking.
You know what? I like what you've been doing, and I like a lot of guys, Neverett, and I grew up in Boston with Kurt Gowdy and everything, but I still think the best 1-2 punch in the press box, I don't think you'll disagree with me as far as the Pirates are concerned or anybody, Bob Prince and Jim Woods.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you because, I've heard that. But as I said to a lot, in fact, I told Jason Mackey, he called me for that story that you're citing. And part 2 is coming up, I think, today or tomorrow, of that long spread on the gunner, Bob Prince. I can only go basically on what people say.
Yeah.
And I certainly don't discount it. I appreciate it, understand it. He's revered. For me, my Bob Prince and Jim Woods were Lanny Frattini and Milo Hamilton.
Okay.
That was my era growing up. I loved those two. I mean, much like people love Prince, I loved Lanny Frattini and Milo Hamilton. Every single night, I listened to those Pirate games on my transistor radio, and I loved the team because of those two guys. Now, having seen Prince and got to know him not nearly as well as guys like you, but watching people's reactions when he was around, I get it. I mean, he was larger than life. He was bombastic. He was fun. He was, he could do things on the air that made people laugh. He could spin stories. And so, yeah, for long-time Pittsburghers, I can see how Bob Prince and Jim Woods were like the best combination of their lifetimes.
And don't get me wrong, I like Prince and King too, Nellie King. And I always tried to sit at Bob Prince's table because he was a great storyteller. And I was always impressed because I didn't have a whole lot of money just working for a couple of small stations back then. I had to hustle to pay for gasoline to get to Three River Stadium. But I was impressed how he would leave maybe a 20 for George and a 20 for Dizzy, the two bartenders. You know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He was willing to, and I think, for me, the guys of my era, like Steve Blass and Mike Lang, I hung out with a bunch. And they are in that mold. I've seen them, the way they tip when people aren't looking, and how important that is to them to take care of bartenders and so on. So, yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. You want to hear my quick Bob Prince story? I got a couple of them. You might laugh at this one, or you might say, DeFabio, you were crazy back then, and I was. I think it was the Mets were in town. I'm sitting with Prince. A lot of us got there early so we could eat the food and everything, but I always got there early so I could listen to Bob Prince. We're sitting at the table, and I think it was a writer from the New York Times. He had a bad hairpiece. Now, Prince didn't know it, but I used to endorse the hairpieces at Hartford Hair Clinic with Terry Bradshaw. Bradshaw got paid a lot of money. They gave me a couple of hairpieces to endorse, and I got free ads in the paper. Well, this guy walks by, and I said, Gunner, that's a bad tooth. And he says, it is? I goes, it's real bad. Look at the part. It's in the middle of his head. He said, how do you know? I said, because, I wear one. He goes, you do? So I unclipped it, threw it at Prince. I threw it at Prince. It landed chest high, and he's juggling it like it was a bomb.
No way.
Oh, yeah, everybody laughed. I think Steigerwald fell to the floor. Now, here it is, the third or fourth inning of the game, right? The camera zooms on this guy behind the Pirate dugout, and he's bald. I mean, he's really bald. Gunner says, what that guy needs is a DeFabio. Then he went on to explain what it was about me and hairpieces.
That is hysterical.
But to see Bob Prince juggling my hairpiece,
That is classic.
So.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, but...
That's great.
Yeah, he didn't know, but he finally knew, and... DeFabio,
What you need is a DeFabio there, laddie.
Yeah, one of the cool guys that I got to meet and learn from. I got to learn a lot from Jack Fleming and Myron Cope and even Mike Lang, because I took a couple trips with the Penguins, and the Gunner, even Nellie King. I used to fill in for Nellie King at 3WS,
How about that?
He recommended it because he knew I needed a good job. But
Nellie King was a wonderful man. He really took me under his wing when I came to the Pirate. I knew him briefly before in the front office, but when I came back as an announcer, and just told me how to deal with certain things. He would talk to me about just the ins and outs of the business and what's important and what's not. Just such a kind man.
Yeah. Yep. Only in Pittsburgh and only in baseball would you have a Prince and a King in the same booth.
Boy, is that the truth? And a possum.
Oh, yeah, that was Woodsy, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he worked the Yankee game in '60, the World Series game, and then Bill Guilfoyle, I think, also worked in that Yankee World Series, and both of them became part of that Pirate payroll. So,
yep.
Great history there. Great history.
So great. We're so blessed to have such great history in this city.
Yeah.
This team, just some real characters, unforgettable characters.
Yeah, you had Prince and you had King, you had the Possum, and then you had a former Parrot in the press box.
You got the Gunner, you got a King, you got a Possum, you got a Parrot. You got it all.
Yeah, okay. And you've done it all, man. It's just too bad I know you have 4 AFC championship rings, but I wish you could have got at least 1 Super Bowl ring.
No, I do too. I believe me. But as I said, winning is hard.
Yes, it is. Yep.
It's really hard. And one thing it taught me to appreciate the Bills because of how they kept getting up off the mat. As many as the nation was against the Bills, the 3rd or 4th Super Bowl. Everyone wanted them out. They didn't want to see the Bills again.
That's right.
So everyone was against them. And for them to keep fighting as they did and getting up off the mat and returning to the Super Bowl, but it taught me how hard it is to win. Yeah. Winning in sports is really hard.
Hey, look on your schedule, because I'd like to have you come in and make a personal appearance, and later I'll take you out to dinner. I'm treating. And, to have you here for a couple of hours, I know Lola would look forward to it. Biff loves you. You're well loved for the people down here, and I think we'll have a good time. And maybe we'll go crazy and invite somebody like Sid Bream on the air and say, did you really run that fast when you beat the Steelers?
Very good. That would be fun.
All right, thank you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Lola.
Lola's not here today.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, everybody.
We got C.J. Rose, the pride of Marietta University.
Yep.
All right, Marietta, the pride of, isn't that Dick DeColby or no?
Did DeColby go there?
I don't believe so. Did he?
I thought he went to Findlay. Oh, that's not Bradshaw. Roethlisberger went to Miami of Ohio.
Yeah. Check it out. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Hey, by the way, if the Steelers, we'll talk about it next week. If the Steelers play the Bills in round 2, who are you going to root for?
You're breaking up, Bill. I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Greg. Oh, yeah. I remember first time I saw him in the press box, the Buffalo Bills broadcast booth was right next to the media. And is that Greg Brown? Yeah, I went over to say hello to him at halftime. And, yeah, he's done well. And he was also the voice of the Buffalo Bisons. I'm trying to get him to buy my Buffalo Memorial Stadium seats, which was the home of Steeler Bills games and the home of the Natural. You got $1,000, CJ?
No.
Well, get a loan from Coach Young. He carries that much in his right pocket, But yeah, got to get rid of all this stuff. All right, we'll be right back. Always good talking to Greg Brown. He's going to be in the studio in a few weeks, hopefully. As I like to say, it's great doing the variety show because we are positively entertaining.
The Metro News Update is brought to you by Thomas Auto Centers, Mall Road, St. Clairsville. Get the best deal at Thomas Auto Centers.
West Virginia Metro News, I'm Chris Lawrence. U.S. Senator Joe Manchin says the events from Wednesday in Washington lie squarely on the doorstep of President Donald Trump.
I've seen other insurrections and basically things happening in Washington, and we've seen guns and tanks and armies and everybody else on the street. But when this happened to our own capital, it was as if the President of the United States gave his stamp of approval to go march on the Capitol.
Manchin speaking on Metro News Talkline this morning. Fellow West Virginia U.S. Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who has been a staunch ally of the President, agrees. This crossed the line.
It's very disheartening. I think the President does own this. I think that he whipped, as Joe said, he whipped everybody up yesterday and said, head to the Capitol.
After being swept into secure areas of the Capitol, members of the House and Senate finished their work around 4 this morning to certify the Electoral College results, declaring Joe Biden the winner. 2nd District Congressman Alex Mooney, who objected to certifying some of the Electoral College results, says the protesters who entered the Capitol need to face criminal charges.
Couldn't be more upset than I was. I was the one being threatened here. I mean, it's ridiculous. They should be obviously prosecuted to the full extent of the law, identified. I don't care what their politics are. Presumably they're mostly Trump supporters. I've seen some reports that there's some professional rioters in there or something. I don't know. I don't care. I'm going to go into the presumption they were, rabid Trump supporters. You don't do that. I don't care.
Mooney, a guest on Metro News Talkline as well. You're listening to Metro News, the voice of West Virginia. If you were in Charleston, you may have noticed an American flag flying upside down atop the state capitol Tuesday. Pictures of that circulated widely on social media, creating a stir. Governor Jim Justice addressed the issue Wednesday, saying it was a mistake.
It was this gentleman's first time hanging the flag, and he was switching it out midday because the old flag was becoming tattered and worn.
Typically, an inverted flag is a sign of dire distress. From the Metro News Anchor Desk, I'm Chris Lawrence.
New Belgium Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available in West Virginia and distributed locally by wine and beverage merchants. With its toasty and biscuit-like malt flavors blended perfectly with hoppy freshness, it's bound to become one of your new favorite craft beers. Fat Tire Amber Ale is now available at local retailers. Please don't drink and drive, and drink responsibly. From your friends at Wine and Beverage Merchants.
For all of your IT needs, visit OmniPerforms.com. Omni Strategic Technologies, the only IT company that the watchdog trusts.
Plumbers and steam fitters Local 83 want to thank the owners and contractors of the Ohio Valley for using their locally trained workers to help build for the future. Local 83 helps design, fabricate, and build the gas infrastructure for the oil and gas industry here in the Ohio Valley. Plumbers and steam fitters Local 83 is 300 members strong and growing. They also do residential, commercial, and industrial work on both sides of the river. For more information, call Plumbers and Steam Fitters Local 83 at 304-233-4445.
Does your dog need groomed or walked? Are you looking for a pet sitter or dog boarding options? If so, call Dirty Paws, Wheeling's newest pet care service, providing the Ohio Valley with everyone's pet care needs. Check us out on Facebook at Dirty Paws WHG or call 304-639-7754.
Hello, Ohio Valley. This is Kate Delaney inviting you to join me overnight here on The Watchdog. Whether it's talking to big names in entertainment or sports, discussing the latest political news, or just chatting about life, I'll be here to keep you company on The Watchdog, WVLY AM 1370, FM 97.7, or online at watchdognetwork.com.
Over the years, you've brought opioids into your home. They helped when you were in pain, and you held on to them just in case. But holding on to opioids puts your family at risk. Learn more at www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection. Now, during the Jim Robinson Ford Lincoln Toyota Pre-Owned Super Sale, select from over 80 vehicles in stock starting under $5,000. Most are local trades, many with one owner. Hurry to Jim Robinson at the Highlands, home of lifetime powertrain protection.
This is Wheeling Fire Chief Larry Helms, reminding everyone about the seriousness of this COVID-19 in our region during these colder weather months. This virus is spreading rapidly and could put a strain on our hospitals and emergency services. I am asking everyone to please wear a mask. It's important to make sure your mask covers your nose and your mouth at all times. Wearing a mask is one of the only defensive tactics we have to slow this virus down. Remember, wear a mask, stay apart, and wash your hands.
You can now watch the Legislative Watchdogs every Wednesday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. Talk radio taken to the next level. Only on the Watchdog. Give us a call and tell us what you're thinking. Locally, 304-214-1600. Out of the area, toll free, 866-514-1600 or 304-232-TALK.
As far as a comment from yesterday, things can only get better. So let's hear from the Youngbloods.
You can make the mountains ring, or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now. some may go, he will surely pay his. When the one that left us here returns for us at last, we are but a moment's sunlight fading in the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another.
Okay, here we go. It's test time. CJ, you're my brother. Let's see that smile. All right. My sister is here, Casey Tucker. Let's see that smile. That's all. It's simple, you know. Is her microphone on, or she needs to get closer to the mic? Say hello, Casey.
Hello.
Do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. And remind me to call Denny Magruder, because you busted a headset, so I got to send him a bill for $300. They only cost like $25, but I got to make money off of Denny. Oh, Denny doesn't have any money. Hey, the Nailers won.
Yeah, I saw that last night.
How about that? 5-on-3 break in overtime.
Overtime, yeah.
But CJ was excited. Of course, he gets excited if they're losing 5-0, you know? And you know, when the game's on at West Banco, if I'm at River City working, I can hear his big mouth. I mean, I can hear him broadcast. It's good that things are happening now, you know, so I can't wait for a concert at the Capitol. There's still no word on the doo-wops or anything, huh?
Not right now. I mean, they're still planning for May.
Okay.
So, you know, we're still...
Is that going to be the people that were supposed to be there for doo-wop 17, 18, or 9? I got lost after 10.
I know.
Okay.
Yes, it is the same as the Bobby Rydell, that group. So it's May 15th right now. And then we did have Trace Adkins in April, but that has been postponed now until October 10th.
I did security for his people when, oh, you talk about people having a good time, when he was at Heinz Field. So that's enjoyable for me. You know, I like doing that. I don't get paid a whole hell of a lot to escort teams and people around, but you learn about a lot of people, and you learn what's happening behind the scene. Like when I go to the game Sunday, I got to be there 7 hours early because the first Cleveland bus will come in. Then some players bring a limo. You know, they take a limo, so I got to escort them. But to see all the people that work behind the scenes, from the people that move the tarp, from the CEO who I got to meet, who's in charge of cleaning after the game. You know, all these people, they make the show what it is, and we just think it's the broadcasters and the players.
Oh, yeah.
But that's cool stuff, you know?
Yeah, it is.
So I'm learning. I'm still networking, too.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and if you need a security guard, I'll give you a break.
Okay.
All right? You know?
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, we might need it down the road, all of us, I don't know. As a young person, what'd you think about yesterday in 30 seconds or less, because I don't want to dwell on it. That's why we got Howard and Big Rick.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it caused me a little bit of anxiety, I won't lie.
Yeah, because you have a little one.
Yeah, I mean, it's nerve-wracking, it's scary. That's the only way. The only thing
Did
I
your
really got
eyeballs
on
pop
it.
out when you watched some of the video?
Yeah, it's hard to believe, you know,
Yeah.
that it's happening, but
Yeah. I'm not a big CNN fan or a big Fox News fan. I'm just not big on the news anymore, whether it's fake or not. But I went back and forth, and I'm there. I don't believe what I'm looking at. This is the White House.
Yeah.
It's sacred grounds. Then I hear from friends of mine in Canada, a couple cousins in Italy called me like, what is going on?
Right.
You know, the other countries must be laughing at us. Or, I don't know if they're feeling sorry for us, but we see this happening in other countries where they got problems, you know?
yeah. Don't think it will happen here.
Then they played the audio. I don't know if it was CNN or Fox about one of the guys said we're coming back with rifles. Are you kidding me? You know? So you and CJ, you know, both of you are going to be our leaders in some form or matter down the road. Me, I'm glad I don't have a little one. They're all grown up and ignore me. I'm old, I'm annoying, I'm no good, I'm stupid, I forget things. And they're right, 4 out of the 5 or 3 out of the 4. But you guys are the future, you know?
Yeah.
As a Joker would say, I ain't got no future. Wasn't that a Batman movie? Joker, I got no future. CJ, you remember the first one?
I've never seen Batman.
You're kidding me.
I'm not.
Any of them?
No.
You haven't seen any of the Batman?
Nope.
Even when they were popular at the movies. What'd you go see at the movies? Did you go to the movies?
I think the last time I went to the movie theater, I saw Smurfs.
Smurfs. Okay, I don't think you'll be working for me anymore with me. Smurfs, what was that? A cartoon or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did I watch the other day that my kids like? Shrek or Shrek?
Shrek.
Shrek? Yeah. What did I say? Shrek, Shrek, whatever. And I said, my kids used to watch this all the time. I think I have it on VHS and DVD and whatever. DVD, another edition, behind the scenes. What kind of behind the scenes over a cartoon? But, oh. All right, whatever. Smurfs?
Yep.
Oh. We spent too much time talking football with Coach Young. You know. He'll probably call and say, you know what? I remember watching Smurfs with CJ. Did he take you guys out to movies before games and stuff?
No, we wouldn't go out and eat before games and stuff.
Okay. Steak and potatoes or big whoppers?
Like we've had steak before,
Yeah.
ribs,
Yeah,
wings.
okay, all right. Do either one of you recall that scary movie? It was maybe the first zombie movie, although they weren't zombies. Night of the Living Dead, black and white, you know, where they use guts from, I don't want to make people sick. Our Trinity football team, every Thursday, would go out to dinner, like Angelo's, my buddy's place, okay? The Union Grill. We'd have like spaghetti and that, no steak in that. It was too expensive. Well, we went, and we had spaghetti dinner. I think it was Angelo's, about 35 of us, and the coach took us to an 8 o'clock movie, Night of the Living Dead. Do you know how many of us threw up at the theater? You're looking at him. I threw up on our center. Then he threw up, I think, on an lineman. It was like, what do they call it? Chain reaction. Yeah. And we wonder why the coach did that, you know? Why would you do that? Now you look at the movie, and they didn't have the special effects back then, you know. They had to use, I don't want to tell you what the guts were in the blood. The blood was, they couldn't afford, what's the syrup called? Hershey's.
Okay.
So they got the cheap stuff, Bosco. Because my aunt and uncle, who didn't have a whole lot of money on the farm, would buy Bosco. I didn't know the difference. It's like, is there a difference between Heinz ketchup and Hunt's? Is there really?
Yes.
There is?
To me, there is.
Yeah.
You think? I like Hunt's.
Yeah.
It's cheap, too. You can go to the dollar store and get 2 for $3.
I like Heinz a lot better.
What's
Me
the difference,
too.
Casey? You're the cook.
I mean, it just tastes different.
Yeah, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. By the way, the folks who does the advertising for Heinz extended their contract one more year with the Steelers. Then they're probably not going to be the big-time advertiser with the ketchup bottle and the scoreboard after 2021. So I got to come up with something crazy to suggest to the Steelers, who will say, that's a crazy idea. But, you know, that's a great thing. Heinz Field, when you think of Heinz Field, you see them on national TV, you think of Pittsburgh.
Of course, yeah.
57 varieties, you know. You like their pickles?
I love pickles.
I'm a bread and butter pickle guy. I can eat a whole jar. How about you, CJ?
I
Oh,
don't-
why don't you be different now? You know,
don't like
you people from
pickles.
Wheeling Central got to be different than the rest of the world. Who the hell do you think you are? Did you go to Wheeling Central?
I did.
Oh, geez. Oh, Bill, why did you ask that? What year did you graduate from Wheeling Central?
2007.
2007?
Mm-hmm.
Coach Young was 60 back then, wasn't he? Whoop. I didn't say that. Was he the coach back then?
He was,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, he's been around. He's older than dirt. This is what, his 50th year, CJ?
I
50th
think,
year
I
coaching.
think, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Hope he's
wow.
there for another 50. I won't be around, but you know, he keeps himself in good shape. He loves football. He loves working with the kids. He loves, you know, working with Wheeling Central. So I'm sure Reno's been around a long time, too. His longtime buddy from Steubenville.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. You really like Heinz?
Yeah, definitely.
And you like pickles, bread and butter. Are they the best, or you like the dill?
Yeah, I'm more of a dill.
Okay. Now, when you were having a little one, did you have a pickle thirst all the time, or whatever?
No, yeah, I eat a lot.
Yeah.
And a lot of hot sauce.
Marianne liked hot sauce. How can you have hot sauce and pickles?
You can. When you're
Teach it.
pregnant, you can do anything.
Yeah, remember that if you ever get pregnant, CJ.
I don't plan on getting
Well, you
pregnant.
never know what's happening down the world, you know? Yeah, it is a crazy world, and you know what? Take care of that little one, man.
I will.
How old is she now?
She's 14 months.
Yeah, take care of her, because you don't know what kind of world that you're going to grow up with the mister, and CJ already give him advice, you know, absorb a lot of knowledge, you know, listen to what people say, even if they're crazy like me, because, you know, I know a lot about life, you know, I was a survivor, you know. I had a lot of doors open for me. There was no nepotism in broadcasting for me, because all my relatives and friends were in Italy, so they couldn't do anything for me. But I had a lot of good people open doors for me. And what's missing today with the young broadcasters? They think they know it all. When half of them have never stuck a microphone in front of Sidney Crosby or Ben Roethlisberger. And I try and teach some of these young ones, but I'm too old, you know? Too old. CJ listens because he has to from 12 to 2. Yeah. Smurfs. Oh, wait till I call Coach Young. Smurfs. Are you serious? That's the last movie you saw at the theater?
Actually, now that I think that was the second to last because I did go see Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, you have some class. Yeah. Wasn't that about
Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury? Yeah. I saw that. All right. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. While we're talking about movies, well, let's go look at the oldies calendar. The Nailers, it's old news now, but they won last night. They were on the road, right, Casey?
They were, yes.
Yeah, they beat Greenville.
They'll be back
5-4 in OT. They had a 5-on-3 with a game winner. We won't see them till when?
January 22nd, 23rd, 24th. They'll be back home.
Boy, you've done your homework. Yeah, that's why I tell Denny I love you, man. Of course, anybody he sends, I tell him the same thing.
Yeah.
All right. Are my girls doing okay? The statues, they're still okay?
They're okay. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they're doing good.
Yeah. Some night I want to steal one. Are they heavy, do you know?
I would assume, but I'm not sure.
And they were made in Italy. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You ever see those statues, CJ?
Which statues?
There's one on the right above the balcony and one on the left. Beautiful statues of
I might
Roman princesses or whatever.
I might have seen it.
Yeah. And I got a chance to meet one. It's great. It was the first woman I ever talked to. She never talked back. Seriously, I'm talking to her. Boy, are you beautiful. Boy, I'd like to take you home. And she didn't say a word. All right. Who sent me that picture? What was his name?
Was it Ryan?
No, the other guy.
Justin?
Justin, yeah, he sent it to me. Made me sick. Did Ernest Tubb, a great country performer, ever make an appearance at the Capitol? Yeah. On this date, 1950, made his first appearance at the Grand Ole Opry. You ever been there?
I have, but I was little.
Yeah.
So I haven't been as an adult, but I'd love to go back.
Yeah. Does the Capitol kick some butt compared to the Grand Ole Opry or no?
I mean, I think so, but I
Yeah.
love the Capitol.
Oh, I think it's one of the best kept secrets around. If you don't like country music, that's fine too, because a lot of performers go there, like the doo-wops and stuff. But Ernest Tubb performed there, and they also worked at KGKL in San Angelo, Texas, wherever that is. 1968, when I was a junior in high school, and don't you laugh, Casey. C-Days, don't you laugh. You're already on my list. A postage stamp cost 6 cents. Wow. What are they today? 55 for forever?
Yep.
I mentioned it earlier, in case you tuned in, on this date in 1979, in freezing rain, and I sat in auxiliary press, froze my you-know-what off. I thought I was going to get hot chocolate and a hot dog at halftime. I got absolutely nothing, but I got to cover the game and make money afterwards. They played a steady rain at Three River Stadium, and it was the Steelers defeating the Oilers 34-5. Meanwhile, in the NFC Championship game, the Cowboys shut out the Rams 28-0. The following week, the Steelers beat the Cowboys in what I thought was the best Super Bowl game I ever covered, and I've covered like 30 of them. No brag, just fact. 35-31 in Super Bowl 13. Where was that played, Bill? Oh, the old, ugly Orange Bowl in Miami. What a week that was. I can't mention what I did during the week because it was a little bit crazy. 1985, Yul Brynner and yours truly have something in common, Casey. What is it?
I don't know.
Hair?
What's
Hair?
under my hat, Casey? Nothing. Yul Brynner was bald. I'm bald. That's the only thing we have in common.
I can see the resemblance.
You know, CJ, you're 0 for 3 with Uncle Bill. I may not bring you lunch anymore. I didn't bring you lunch today, huh?
No.
Okay,
It's
that's
okay, though.
Yul Brynner returned to the stage for The King and I. He first began his reign 33 years before. He appeared in 4,434 shows without missing a single performance.
Wow.
His performance was The King of Siam, I am. What's that thing with Dr. Seuss, I am, he says, or whatever?
Green eggs and ham.
For eggs and ham?
Yeah.
You like ham? CJ, you probably grew up on chipped ham, right?
Yep.
You like chipped ham?
I love chipped ham.
Oh, I do too. It's really not good for me being a diabetic, but I don't care. You know what I had the other day and I cheated? All right, I won't tell my endocrinologist or whatever you call her. All right? A Big Mac.
Oh, wow. I
And a
haven't had
big
one of
order of
those.
fries. And my sugar went way up. So I tried to walk 10 miles and I said, I can't do this because I'll have a heart attack. Because I got a bad heart, so whatever. But Yul Brynner, here's a great story. You ready? Yul Brynner was on an airplane coming from, I think it was Memphis to New York, and my mother-in-law was trying to come in from Florida, stop at Memphis to go to New York, okay, because she lived in New Jersey or whatever. Yul Brynner sat in front of her, and she almost choked to death because Yul Brynner loved Lucky Strikes. And a lot of people went up to talk to him, and he wasn't exactly very nice, but you know what? If I'm in his shoes, leave me alone, you know?
Yeah.
So whatever. Nicolas Cage, you like him?
Yeah.
Okay, you have a favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
Face Off.
Face Off. That's my favorite.
Is it?
Are you a mind reader now, too?
Yes.
Do you know Nicolas Cage, CJ?
I've heard of him.
Oh, this kid's got a lot to learn. I like Peggy Sue Got Married. What was it? Con Air?
Yep.
Remember Con Air? And what was the one? The Rock,
I don't think
with
I
Lola's
saw that.
favorite actor. If Sean Connery would walk in here, he can't now because he's dead, but if he walked in here, Lola would come through that window. And if I mentioned Kevin Costner, she'll come through that window and kick my butt because she hates him.
Really?
You like Kevin Costner?
I mean, I don't think I dislike him.
Have you ever heard of him, CJ?
No.
How can you not hear of Kevin Costner? Seriously.
He an actor?
No, he's an actress. Casey, you want to produce the show? I'll take you out to dinner, River City. I'll pick up the tab. I'll leave a nice tip. Everybody's heard of Kevin Costner.
Not me.
There's
I did this at a restaurant. Did I tell you the story about Eaton Park?
No.
I usually have breakfast with people in law enforcement in Washington, the sheriffs, and I usually pick up the treat because it's very inexpensive if you go in there early. So we ordered breakfast, right? The girl comes over, and you know she didn't want to wait on us. She had a bad day. So we ordered. I'm still waiting for my coffee and water, whatever. There's 6 of us. She comes back, gets our order. Finally, you know, I said, do I get a smiley cookie? And she goes, you're too old. Well, that upset me, all right? I said, I'm a senior citizen. No discount today. It was a Thursday. You get a discount on Tuesday at the buffet. I said, how about my AARP card? That's not good. How about my AAA card? Do I get a discount? No. So I look, I'm mad. Everybody's mad because this waitress was one of the worst, but I think we still left her a $15 tip. I said, sweetie, maybe I shouldn't have said that. If I was John Wayne, would I get a discount? And she bent over and looked at me, all right, staring at me. She said, sir, who's John Wayne? And I goes, I don't believe it. So one of her fellow waitresses, I think, or teammates came by, a young girl. She turned around and said, Christy, do you ever hear John Wayne? She goes, uh-uh. How can you not hear John Wayne? An American hero. CJ, have you heard of John Wayne?
No.
You're not kidding, are you?
I'm not.
I got to call Coach Young. Did you get a championship ring?
3.
I'll make sure you give him back to him. How can you not know Kevin Costner? How can you not know John Wayne? Do you know who's on the line?
Yeah, his name's Earl.
Earl? Okay, Earl. What do you think of these young ones not knowing who these people are?
Oh, man, you need to hire me and fire that boy.
Yeah. Oh! Did you say boy or Roy? Believe me, he's a big boy.
B-O-Y, boy.
Okay.
Because that boy don't know nothing.
Whoa! I know Baker, but I smell a roll. What's on your mind? We got about a minute.
Nicolas Cage movies. Red Rock West, you got to watch it.
Hold on. I got to write it down because I forgot what you just said already.
Red Rock West.
Red Rock West. Okay.
It's one of the movies you don't know what's going to happen till the very end.
Is it a Western or what?
No.
Okay. You have
and
a
then what's the one where him and them 3 guys stole the babies?
Oh, I don't know.
He was married to a cop, and she couldn't have kids, so he stole a baby for her.
I have no idea.
And his buddies broke out of prison.
I have no idea. Real quick, you have a favorite Kevin Costner movie? Mine is Field of Dreams.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
You remember that movie, CJ?
Yes.
Hey!
Actually, I have.
That's a good one.
All right. Hey, thank you, man.
All right. Later.
If you want the producer's job, you have to pay us.
Okay, no problem.
Ooh, I like that. Management probably likes that. CJ, would I replace you?
Hopefully not.
No, I would. Because you make the show better. As I say, Casey, the variety show, it's positively entertaining.
It is.
Every time you come in here, I have you laughing.
You do.
In today's society, I'd rather see people laugh than cry.
Yes.
And after yesterday, things can only get better, you know?
I agree.
Coming up, I got to get this right. And by the way, folks, here's another good song for you. All we need is love. That other four-letter word's bad. Hate. Can I spell that? H-A-T-E. I'd rather L-O-V-E. CJ, love you. Casey, always love you. You're charming. Big show coming up with Big Rick. You don't want to mess with Big Rick. Believe me. He would step on you and not even think about it. What was that, a flea or an ant? He's a good guy. Give him a good listen, because we all teammates here on AM 1600.
The Watchdog is FM 98.1, AM 1600 WKKX Wheeling, FM 97.7, AM 1370 WVLY Moundsville.
One of the arrestees is from the District of Columbia.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer making a statement saying he intends to fire the sergeant in arms when Democrats take the majority, calling on him to resign before then, that a day after a mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol.